So the principle of charity, this is a principle that's found in philosophy and rhetoric, according to Wikipedia, our source of all truth and accuracy. But that aside, I think this is pretty accurate. But I want to discuss the principle of charity. It's about how you interpret what other speakers say. So in a debate, your opponent in a debate, and the way that you should interpret their statements, you should interpret them to be rational, and an argument considering its best, strongest possible interpretation. All right. I think that this is it's an extremely important principle in order to understand and grow and improve one's own philosophical outlook and understanding of the world around us. And this is something that right now I see so incredibly lacking, and it's extremely sad. But look, the bottom line is, when someone says something that you disagree with, or someone who's on the other side, in my case, when I see liberals, or if I see when liberals talk about what conservatives say, you should always take what is said at its best possible interpretation, strongest interpretation. Okay, that is, you should make the argument against it as hard as you possibly can. It's a way of avoiding things like straw man arguments. Okay, but the only way to have a strong argument yourself is to put it up against the strongest opposing argument. And you should assume that your opponent wants to give you the strongest possible argument there is. But basically, you'll never get to the truth. You'll never, without this principle, you'll never really dig through your own preconceptions and misperceptions. Sadly, this is a principle that I did not learn about until, I'd never heard about this in college, in debate in law school. It was never mentioned in any kind of, I took a lot of philosophy, I took a lot of, and I had not heard of this until well after this, and it was in discussions on online forums. And the person who brought this up ended up being a very influential person in my thought processes and beliefs. So I have a feeling this is going to come up pretty often. So, and I think this came up recently for me because I saw something that was incredibly uncharitable in philosophy. I see this all the time, every single day, but there's one that just recently I was like, it was just, a little bit of this principle, one could maybe reach some understanding. So this probably is not the best example, but this is the one that appeared in my Facebook feed. This is what appeared in my Facebook feed that made me think, a little bit of the principle of charity would go a long way in this discussion, and it kind of prompted me to make this video. But like I said, this is something I just see all the time. So what do we have here? Well, we have there was a video. I didn't put the whole thing here, but here's the video, the full video of a woman trying to hold a sign that said "No racism, no hate," and being covered up by Trump supporters. And the conclusion that is reached about the Trump supporters' reaction to the sign is that apparently the RNC is in favor of racism and hate. Make America hate again. And the two people who are saying this, I blotted out their names, but they're both local attorneys that I deal with every day. These are decent, good people who are saying this. So I mean, this is not a radical thing. Yet they would rather believe that the Republicans, that their reaction to this person holding up a sign is that that the Republicans just hate. Republicans are about racism and hate. They'd rather do that than consider any other possibility, such as this is a woman who's trying to hold up a sign and be disruptive. I mean, what's the point of holding up a sign saying no racism, no hate? Are we really supposed to believe that the woman who was holding up this sign was actually like a Republican conservative who was for the party, for Trump, and in the solidarity and support was saying, yes, you're absolutely right, there should be no racism, no hate? No, what was she saying? She was criticizing Trump. By holding up a sign saying no racism, no hate, she was basically suggesting that that there was racism and hate that had to be addressed, and so the Republican, the Trump supporters' reaction, is to maybe take offense at that and to try to block it out. So that's the fact that you're against a sign or against someone who happens to have a sign saying no racism does not necessarily mean that you're a racist and a hater. Okay, there may possibly be another reasonable explanation. So now this could work both ways, right? Were the Trump supporters who held up the flag, were they exhibiting a proper amount of charity? Well, I mean, they ascribed to this woman a very negative motivation. All right, so that may not have been charitable either. All right, I mean, it works both ways. But let's just watch the video and see for ourselves.
Look at that woman pulling it.
So, I mean, we see from the video that it's a code pink demonstrator. So the woman was there to demonstrate against the Republicans. In other words, I mean, clearly, I think is giving her as much charity as possible. It's still clear that she is there to suggest that, Republicans are full of hate and racism. Obviously. Now, was the reaction one that I would condone? No. I mean, just leave the woman alone. Let her fly her crazy flag as much as she wants and go ahead and make a spectacle of herself. I mean, you're just feeding into it by come on, trying to grab it away from her. Don't do that. I mean, that's assault. All right. Granted, the reaction was, But the reaction does not mean that the RNC is in favor of racism and hate. Okay? So, charity, folks. Charity. A little bit of it goes a long way.